here. Today was an amazing day out here in Utah, Salt Lake City, attending the Limitless conference. It was only today, like 20, 30 speakers. David Goggins, Eric Thomas, Brad Lee, Andy Frisella, Andy Elliott, like a freaking amazing list. And got a lot of good information. I mean, there were so many speakers and people I'd never heard of before that were just killing it today. And so glad I got to come out here. One of the things Andy Elliott always says, you need to take your spouse, the person who's at home with you, because they're your teammate. You know what I mean? He's like, and so if you're gonna improve your life and level up, you need to bring your spouse too, or your partner. And so my wife got to come with me out here, which was really good, because I think she found some motivation and some desire to want to make some movement for her life. And so I'm excited about where we're heading. I told her I'm gonna be on that stage next year. I'm gonna be on that stage in 2024, speaking to thousands of entrepreneurs and upcoming entrepreneurs. Like, I'm in such a good place right now. I don't feel, like I said, like I talk all the time, man, I don't have no bad days, right? Like, I'm so full of information right now, it's crazy. Like, I just want to share things with people. And I know that I know we're just one thing away from breaking through hugely, and you know what I mean? And so it's probably the 6-pack thing. I need to get the 6-pack, right? Andy Elliott always says, if you don't have a 6-pack, you're fired. And that was one of the things that everybody talked about today. And that was one of the things I even told my wife that I noticed with everyone, not only on stage, but in attendance. Everybody was physically fit, right? Like, I mean, there were very few overweight, heavy people, very few. Most of the people in attendance today were freaking shredded or buff. The women were all, physically fit as well. And so it's a great culture to be around. You know what I mean? These are people speaking from all over the world. So it's not like they're in cahoots together, like, hey, everybody needs to get fit. No, these people, they represent something because the work they do, it shows in their bodies, right? Because that's one of the things that's like one of the main points everybody talks about. Like, if you ain't got no health, you ain't got nothing. And so I was excited to be able to see that, right? And get to see some of the coaching that I'm getting now from the Elliott team, the Earn It All Academy. See some of the coaches out here today, take some pictures with them. That was pretty awesome. Yesterday I had posted, stop replaying things that you should be deleting from your life, right? And I got a lot of traction from people I haven't gotten any responses from before ever. And so that was actually pretty good. Lots of comments on that one about how people are thinking or feeling about that. And so I think that was a really good post. I heard it on a video and I was just like, ooh, I need to put that out there, right? Because, like, I think we do that, right? Like, and we do that in a bunch of ways, and that can go for a lot of different areas of our life, right? Like, people sit in trauma, acting like they don't know what to do or where to go, or not so much like pity potting it, but like they just want to stay the victim for a really long time, acting like they're not ready to heal from it yet. And I'm like, man, we need to move on. Like, stop replaying the trauma of your life, right? Like, stop rehashing it, like putting it in the forefront of your mind. Like, let's move forward, let's move on. And I get it, right? Some traumas are worse than others, right? And some of us just either are scared to move on for what it means for our life, or I don't stay in trauma, so I don't know, but I see it a lot with people that I'm associated with, and sometimes I'll be like, look, I gotta go. If you're not ready to move on, I gotta move, because I can't stay stuck in the past, right? I can't stay in resentment, anger, and fear. I can't. Like, I have to move forward in acceptance, faith, and love. You know what I mean? And so, but people were thinking about that same thing about, like, relationships, right? Like, guys they want to get rid of, right? This is what I assume because of the way they were responding. Men they had in their life that they're like, he's no good for me, and I keep bringing him back home or whatever. Like, it was interesting the way that quote just hit people. You know, I think for me, like, part of it is like, when I got asked the other day, have I ever done anything to the best of my ability for an extended period of time, I had to realize that I haven't. And I think the tape that I keep replaying that I need to delete is like when things get rough, I mean, it depends on the way it hits, but like when things get hard, like I run. I'm a runner. I don't think I've ever really acknowledged that or even noticed it, but like I find excuses not to keep going in the direction I'm going, right? And that's chicken shit. As I sat and thought about it, like, and I think there might be a kind of an undercurrent fear of like of failure being a possibility. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much as far as like acknowledging why I run a little bit. I say a little bit, but why I run from at times. Like I had committed to my wife that I was gonna train and do everything I'm supposed to do so that I could win the Grand Slam. I want to say like in 2021, maybe 2019. It wasn't 2020 because we didn't get to compete very much, but I was like, I'm gonna do it this year. Watch, I'm gonna do it. And she's like, all right, let me see. Because oh yeah, it was 2022 because I was getting ready to go to Poland. And she's like, if we're gonna go to Poland, you need to win. So, and I didn't do it. And I found excuses why I couldn't train. The guys were bothering me, and she would be like, turn your phone off. You know what I mean? And like as I start to come into some of those places of acknowledgement, it's a cold piece to have the realization, right? Because I want to believe that I'm tough or that I'm good, and like flaws shred that theory, right? Or that they take that idea away. And then I posted today, fear is the enemy, it's not your friend. And I always post like, why defend the negative, right? Like, I think sometimes people want fear to be real. And I shared the other day in a meeting that fear is just a figment of my imagination, right? Because if I have ever practiced a third step in Narcotics Anonymous, right, which the base spiritual principle is faith, then fear should not be a factor in my life, right? I get it that there's things that come up that scare us, that make us hesitant, right? That put fear in our life. And I think it's okay to experience it, but it's not okay to stay there. And that's like one of the points that I keep trying to make to people, man. Like, we can't stay there, right? Like, you can't stay in fear and not move, right? You can't not move forward. You can't not try to elevate your life. You can't try to work through whatever the fear is that you're experiencing in that moment in your life. Like, that's not okay. And but we want to hold on to fear like it's a friend, and it's not, right? Like, I think, I don't know if people do it for attention, like, oh, I want some attention, so I'm gonna be fearful because I know people are gonna come around me. I don't know what people are thinking or doing. I'm just speculating from things that I've seen. I know for me, like, the fear of failure is real, and that's like the greatest fear that I have, is not being the best at whatever I'm doing, right? Because I take great pride in everything that I do. Great pride. Like, I can't even say that, right? I want to say I take great pride in everything I do. That's why I don't do anything like half-assed, but I really do. Mediocrity has been a huge part of my life for so long. Like, doing just enough to get by. C's get degrees, so I would do things just good enough to get a C. I never wanted to push myself enough to try to get an A or to really learn a subject, or, you know what I mean? Like, I do enough recovery, enough literature memorizing, step work to just be better than the next guy, right? I think some of these realizations I'm having are starting to expose flaws in my life and my mindset that need to be changed drastically. You know, it's kind of like they kept saying, so there were 7,000 people here in attendance today, and I don't know how many seats there were, but it wasn't full, right? And they kept saying, like, each one of these speakers could fill this entire arena by themselves, and we have all of them here today. And I'm like, you can't say that, because when you have all of them, the theater, if the arena is not full, how do you say that one of these guys could fill the arena, right? And I think that's the same thing that I do with my life, right? Like, I tell myself I'm doing better than I actually am, right? I think I'm doing better than I actually am, to be quite honest. Like, I think I'm doing really, really good, and really I just do mediocrity. I just do the bare minimum most of the time, enough to get by, enough to be better than most, but not the best. And that has to change. It has to change for the people around me, right? I keep pushing that idea, man. People are watching, and people are depending on me, and like, mediocrity is not enough. Like, I want to take people to the next level. I want to 10x people's lives, but I got 10x my life first. And if I don't, then I won't. I'll just continue being the guy who knows he could be on stage but never gets there, right? The guy who keeps being told, man, you speak everything that these people are already saying up there, like, they're making millions and you're not making anything, right? Like, gosh, it's so pathetic to have these realizations. The question is just, what are we going to do about it? That's all. All right, what are we going to do about it? Where do we go from here? And need to make some movements, right? In my faith, mediocre. I was reading the other day in Matthew, and Jesus says, first seek my kingdom and my righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. First seek my kingdom. And I think that's the thing that's missing, is I'm not seeking God's kingdom first. I'm not. I'm seeking other things. And his righteousness. And I'm not seeking his righteousness. I'm seeking my own righteousness by just not doing anything wrong, not making no waves, just kind of going through the motions, doing what I'm supposed to do. But like, God isn't glorified by my life. He isn't exemplified in my life. He isn't, people can't see that I serve him because of the way that I live, right? Or the way that I talk. You know, that's another thing. My wife challenged me, because when I speak in NA, I cuss a lot. And she's like, I want you, right? So Andy Elliott talked about his wife challenging him to be better than he is. And she's like, and she grabbed him by his little love handle. She says, you're fat. He's like, I'm not fat. She's like, you're fat. And he's like, that made me so mad. My wife was challenging me. And my wife did the same thing to me today. She's like, I want you to not cuss anymore when you speak. I'm like, oh, what? Whoa, wait a minute, time out. She's like, no, you need to elevate, to get to the next level. You have to not speak that way. And it's clearer when you don't, and it's better received when you don't, and more people can receive it when you don't. And I'm like, all right, honey, I got you. So there's lots of things, you know, as I sit in these spaces and do these videos daily and accept accountability and responsibility in my life, and allow people to speak in as they see things that I'm either doing or not doing, you start to see life differently. And so if you're willing to accept it, if you're receptive, right? Like, that's the key. Like, I have to be receptive to the people who are speaking things into my life. And I want to be, because one of the quotes that I have written down is build an army, because you can't do this alone. So I have to build an army. I have to be willing to trust people to speak around me, speak into my life around me. So Lots of work to do. We ain't nowhere near where we want to be. We're going to finish this year strong, 2023, 10% body fat, making a lot of changes to our mindset and our lifestyle. Because I'm gonna shred 2024, shred it, right? We're gonna do big things in 2024. In 2023, this last quarter, right? Eric Thomas talked about being in the fourth quarter. We're in the fourth quarter right now. Everything is about getting everything in place, everything fine-tuned, so that when we hit January 1, 2024, we hit it running hard too. We're gonna run this. We're gonna make huge changes and huge waves around in the world around us. So I just wanted to let you guys know, man, that God loves you, and so do I. I hope that the things that I'm saying make sense to you guys, and that we can move forward, right? That we can be receptive to the things that need to be changed in us to actually make us better people. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, right, the goal is to be the person that God intended for us to be, that God created us to be, but to be the best versions of ourselves. So I just want to let you guys know that you're loved and that you're appreciated. Thanks a lot and have a great day.